Welcome again to all the Revalue cities and our special guests from the city of Stavanger, Helene Elliot, and Lenka Ellen Kushvartova from the city of Prague, and the Czech Technical University in Prague, actually, and Helene is from the Stavanger municipality. Welcome again, and thank you for taking the time to sharing your experience with our Revalue cities. So, as we informed our Revalue cities, we have been planning to hold impact model workshops in 15 different cities in our the projects we are leading with Craft, Revalue, and NEBSTAR. And 2 of the workshops, they have been implemented last week. And as we are going to do the workshops in each of our Revalue cities, we thought that you would like to hear firsthand from someone from the city how it went and what they learned, and to share their experience with you. So yeah, these are some of the pictures you see from last week in Stavanger and in Prague. I'm going to start to just the warm-up session. I'm going to ask some questions from Helene first, starting with Stavanger and then with Ellen. And then we will have, as Alison said, we will have distribute you to 2 groups to ask your questions freely from these 2 amazing, our esteemed colleagues, people. Okay, let's begin with Helene. Helene, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yes, awesome. So would you please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and how you're linked to any of the Horizon Europe projects?
Sure. So my name is Helene Elliot, and I work in the municipality of Stavanger. I started working there 5 years ago as an advisor in the Smart City department, but we have now been integrated into the innovation and digitalization sector or section. But the work with the NEBSTAR continues as before. My background is within science and technology studies, STS. I wrote a thesis on innovation and cluster establishing in industries. So, but I took this knowledge into the cultural sector of Stavanger. I've been working on cluster establishing there for creative industries. So, yeah, I have a very various background, and it suits perfectly with the NEBSTAR or the NEB values and the ambition to include the art and design and architecture.
Terrific. Thank you, Helene. My next question is, could you tell us how everything started with the project, and what are you trying to achieve in NEBSTAR and Craft?
Yes. Well, it is a long story. I will try to make it short. I will start with the point of departure. In our TTP, we have an expressed ambition to reduce the emissions by 80% within 2030. It's quite ambitious, and it requires a huge change and transition, both from the municipality and from the region in general. And the way we have been working with the smart city role, and also through the previous engagement in Triangulum and other EU projects, we have learned that the co-creation and the network and the knowledge that is available in European projects is really relevant for us to sort of integrate in the way we want to solve the problems and learning from others. So with the initiative from NTNU and NME, we started on an application. Also because it suits really nice with the European Bauhaus ambitions and how we express the co-creation ambitions and sort of the values that Stavanger municipality is representing already. So we wanted to have a wide consortium. We collected 16 partners from the ideal organizations. We have private sector represented, research and innovation sector, and also other minor ideal organizations that are sort of they have never been experienced with the EU projects before. So we did already in the application process, we did quite a lot of learning, to say the least. So we want to see how we can implement the NEB values in our TTP. That is now under revisioning, and we work with sort of a system-oriented design where we have the tests and explorations activities in test beds, and sort of to see how they can connect with the plans and strategies, and also to sort of affect the TTP when all comes together in 2025.
Awesome. How enchanting. Thank you so much, Helena. Let's jump right into the workshop and the experience last week. Could you let us know who you invited for this session, and what did you learn? How did it go?
Yeah, it was, first of all, it was a really interesting session. We chose to invite all the 16 partners from the consortium, both because it's important that we have a common ground, we have a joint experience, and that we can do this learning together and explore sort of how this impact model can affect us and be useful for us. And also in the project, even though we're 1.5 years halfway through the project, we still need to sort of redefine and have a dialogue and sort of refresh each other's understanding based on the experience we have already had, and also what we're looking forward to do in the coming 1.5 years. So it was good timing for us to sort of have a internal first-hand experience with the impact model, how it has developed, and also to make sure that we're all, so there we are. It's a sort of a wider group. You have the 16 partners, but you also have several representatives or employees from the various organizations. So that's why we are so many. So it was sort of an internal workshop for the consortium, but we also placed it outside of the the building, the municipality's building and the administrations. And that is also sort of I think all of these minor designs that we did have it outside in an open area, a cafe, an art center actually, where we had, it's close to one of the test beds that we have in Nebstar. So sort of having a conscious choice of place and space, and making use of the local businesses to provide food, coffee, and sort of it really also makes an important setting for the consortium as well. So I just want to stress that point actually. And yeah, so exploring this model, we started out with having maps folded out over both of the testbeds we have in Nebstar. Marjan and Anami and Christine, the leader of the project on behalf of Stavanger, they introduced it to us and told us the rules of the game. And we did sort of struggle a bit grasping, or sort of, I think we were so eager to sort of diving into everything. So it's like, okay, but we want to sort of start the game and then realize that, okay, we need to sort of learn the rules once more before we can actually benefit from this. But it was super nice because we got established dialogue instead of having sort of opinions being fronted and presented, as in sort of a monologue and having slideshows and whatever. So getting the first-hand knowledge, the practice, the reflections, and discussing a common area and common goals. It was super useful to sort of have this, I would say it's sort of you make it a thing, you know. It's external from your own maybe personal ambitions when you work or whatever. So it was really nice to discover and facilitate that dialogue.
Thank you, Helena. Indeed, it was a really nice setting, and with the actually in this picture you can see the cafe around the corner.
Yeah.
We have been served really nice coffee and other beverages during the workshop. And just to add one thing, we actually maybe Helena can tell us that about the tools in a Stavanger, the toolbox that we actually evaluated those tools in each of these test beds.
Yeah. So we have in Napstar, we have a portfolio of tools that are to be tested on different, or in those 2 different test beds. The municipality has developed a digital twin, developed some digital tools for inhabitants to sort of easier grasp what's happening with the plan system and the ongoing projects. We have Utrecht and Prague as partners as well. Utrecht, they bring in a tool called Barcode. And we try to merge these tools and see how they can strengthen each other and complement each other when we do assessments and also when we do planning of specific development projects. And having the consortium, which is sort of a very diverse consortium with developers and private actors, you have architects, you have like business organizations, having a mutual understanding of how such tools can be relevant, not only for the municipality, but also as a tool for the common or joint ventures. And what we strive to reach is sort of a more holistic approach in the planning and in the development of the society. So together with the specific tools that we have, we see how they can combine and facilitate this holistic view. And then also with the impact model, that we see that the values and the propositions and the ambitions that we have is sort of how they are interrelated and connected. So having these cards that you can see sort of the blue-greenish marks on the map, they are cards expressing values and expressing different aspects and ambitions. So having, like if you want social robustness, that's sort of a card. And to see and learn how that is connected and have this discussion, how is that connected to water waste? I mean, there's so many aspects that you can discuss, and how all of these various perspectives and understandings came forward through dialogue was really useful.
Awesome. Thank you, Helena. And my final question for this first warm-up interview is that if you, based on this experience, if you wish to hold the workshop again, how would that look like for Stavanger City?
Yeah. I think, well, what we wanted to do, actually, concluding from this experience, we wanted to have each partner, or almost each partner, at least 4 or 5, to bring it to their own sort of their own network or professional colleagues, and do a further testing and exploration of this model and tool, and to see how it is relevant for instance, this lady with the cap here is an artist. She works together with us in the project, and she had a different kind of input than other actors, and sort of having her testing this impact model with her colleagues and her network will give us useful and very valuable input. So it's sort of maybe be more specific on which kind of participants you have in such a workshop would be a change in a way. What we also learned was that we had these, the white cards are available space for you to suggest impacts and suggest values and add your own, and that is also very interesting, so that you can widen sort of the portfolio for the game as well, and also learning then each other's input and values. So yeah, for now, I think that is sort of the most important thing, just to have it further tested and make use of the white cards.
Thank you, Helena. And just to mention one point, that some of the partners in that session, they rolled up the maps and the cards, so because we left everything there, and they were really eager to try to use them in their own way. So that was really interesting. Thank you so much, Helena. We will get back to you in the breakout session. Yes, I would like to ask Ellen from Czech Technical University in Prague as our next speaker. Ellen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us how you are connected to the CRAFT project and NEBSTAR, of course?
Yes, I work for University Center of Energy Efficient Buildings, which is run by Czech Technical University in Prague. And with my team, we are working on CRAFT project, and also our other colleagues are working on the NEB STAR, and we are one of the sandbox city in the CRAFT and one of the lighthouse cities in NEB STAR.
Thank you so much. Actually, this picture that you can see Ellen in action, she was giving us a tour about the development site we actually implemented the impact model workshop on. Maybe she gives us some explanation about this later, but tell us what was your starting point and what are the goals to achieve in these projects that you mentioned briefly?
So I got on board only at the beginning of December, so I'm quite at the beginning of getting to know both the project in its complexities, but with my team, we are working as a work package 4 on learning experiences. So my goal is to really make cities learn and spread the knowledge and also implement it in their environment. So the international learnings to implement in the local circumstances.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Maybe like briefly, can you tell us about this picture?
Yes, so it's it's at the site of the Rohan City project. I also prepared small slideshow, so maybe on the other room, on the Prague room, I can show you the project. So Rohan City is not the project started already, but only the first phase, and it's on the green vast green area really near of the city center. And what you can see here, it's kind of development of the project, because it was started already in 2007 when the developer bought this huge area. And of course, then there were different urbanists, different architects to give their proposals for the urbanization. And also Jan Gehl was one to give his opinion. And this was the reason I wanted to like you participants to see this, even it's covered with text. So it's not really well visible, but there is also Jan Gehl's project.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Just for the participants, our Revalue participants, we held 2 like half-day sessions in Prague. Each of them concentrated on one development site. This is just one of them that Ellen gave the information about. So again, let's jump right in, the impact model workshops. Let us know for these sessions who you invited to attend the impact model workshop.
So we try to invite as many very different stakeholders as possible. So we've invited people from a municipal government, let's say, for all Prague, and then also from the local municipalities, because we have municipalities Prague 1 to Prague 22. So we tried to cover all local politicians. Then we also invited developers of those 2 projects. Then people from NGOs who are for a long time opposing those projects. Then, of course, architects, practicing architects, people from the Czech Chamber of Architects, then people from Institute of Planning and Development of Capital of Prague, because we have this, let's say, institution of specialists who are advising to the politicians, and then also students. But we try to invite people who can still kind of influence the project. So the politicians and developers were the most important people we wanted to have on the workshops.
Thank you so much for all your hard work in inviting this variety of stakeholders. Could you please let us know what you learned from these impact model workshops that we held last week in Prague?
So we have really good feedbacks, like everyone is really enthusiastic, and people from the Institute of Planning and Development, they want to cooperate with us. They want to maybe repeat the workshop. So it's really a success. And we learned that it's really interesting, because first day we had this like smaller name of participants, about 10 participants, and they were all sharing the same opinions, let's say, on the urban development. And as a feedback, they on the Mentimeter, they mentioned that the session could be shorter, and it was a little bit, let's say, we discussed everything really quickly. But the second day we had like bigger variety of stakeholders. We had developers, specialists from IPR, and developers. So the discussion was much more interesting. And as a feedback on Mentimeter, many of the participants said they would like to have much longer session. And also most of them loved the discussion. So even you can see on this picture, there are sitting the representative of NGO Arnika, who is heavily criticizing this development. And then there is also sitting the representative of the developer. And they and it was really nice to hear them to discuss about critical aspects for this project. And as I discussed with the developer after, he said maybe they would really use it because the project is not defined architectonically and also technically, so they can make use to the results of the workshop.
Thank you so much, Ellen. I think we are running out of time. So very briefly, if you want to mention one important success factor of the workshop, what would that be?
Yeah, I think the discussion to really have the stakeholders around the table. This was really important.
Awesome. And if you wish to hold it again, how would it look like?
Yeah, we are planning to make it in Czech, to translate it in Czech and make it for the local politicians who were unfortunately not present on these workshops. I can explain why later on the separate room.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.